Now we're live.
Yay!
Yay! So, where is everybody? They're over here eating. Poor Jessica has to work.
That's the worst.
I like that Emma asked this because I actually went out and got something special for you, Kieran.
Oh, really?
Yes, we're going to have a mukbang.
That's fun. I just have water. And you have Dunkin' Donuts.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting our first Dunkin' Donuts mention.
Yes, you can't have it, so I shall have it for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I thought you would like that. Vegan hot dogs. We love vegan hot dogs.
Yum.
Egg. Good. We're switching up accounts. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. We do love a good croissant gate. I actually already there were 4 of these. I already ate one.
Oh.
I was hungry. I couldn't wait. All right. So like the streams, we're live on both mine and Karen's channels. So wherever you're watching, just give us a like, say hi. And hopefully this won't be as exciting as last
I mean,
week.
hopefully it will be, but in a different way.
But not in the same way, in a different way. Go do your job, sweet lady.
Bye.
Don't worry, I too am a carnivore. Hello.
Hello.
All right, so where do we want to start with our fairy smut?
Yeah, I felt like I should have reread the synopsis of these books because they're quite big and I haven't read them in a while. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about Sarah J. Maas,
which everybody either loves or hates, and we don't really care.
Yeah, I think she's so much fun to read. It's not great, it's not incredible. I know there are people who are she's my favorite author.
Oh, she's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Not by far. No, not even close to favorite.
But it's a guilty pleasure. When Crescent City, the blue one, came out, mm-hmm. I read that in a day. Mm-hmm. I didn't do anything else. I was just in it.
But you need those books though, and this is making me laugh because you and I have talked about this a couple days ago doing this, and then Jess Owens has been finishing up Crescent City, and she keeps calling it Croissant City, and I'm like, this is too well timed, cosmically. Yeah. And obviously she hates it. Everybody's just eating. That sounds delicious. Yeah, I'm gonna make me that. But yeah, I think that they have value. I know that they get kind of shout out a little bit. When you responded to my wrap up from 2022 and was like, Alyssa, Crescent City, I was just waiting for you to just mock me incessantly for reading it. And I was so relieved when you were like, no, I love that crap too.
Yeah. No, it's because I feel you also read quite literary stuff as well, but it's fun to read things that are more guilty pleasures and just fun and silly and just kind of fun to hate on, but hate on and love at the same time. Because it's not we're not saying Sarah J. Maas is the worst.
No. But I mean, I think, I don't know, it's just you get wrapped up in them. They're very when you're into them and you don't want to read anything else and you need to know what happens. I like Crescent City more than A Court of Thorns and Roses, that whole chunk, because there's more mystery involved in Crescent City and there's more creatures involved in it. And I kind of I get more into that stuff. I still like A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm still trying to get through the other one. Oh God, what's the other one? Throne of Glass. I'm still trying to get through Throne of Glass, but
where are you in that one?
I read the prequel in the first one. I'm really early.
Okay, so Crescent City is fun, but sometimes there's too many characters sometimes. And initially I was there's way too many characters, and that friendship was such a joke that's not real. But my favorite is probably the Throne of Glass one, just because I really ship the main romance there that you haven't gotten to yet, really, per se.
No, sorry. I'm still like trying to figure out how the Selena from the prequel stories is the Selena that you meet in book 1. Like she's so. How many straws did Duncan give me? She's so. I don't know. She's just so young and annoying. Yeah. And I guess there's a lot of annoying characters in Sarah J. Maas books, but eventually you end up liking
all of her main characters are annoying.
I mean, I only continued with the Court of Thorns and Roses because everyone's like, you just need to get to book 2. Because I hated that first one so much.
Yeah. Or it's also just like sometimes I feel like fantasy character authors try to give their characters like such a 360 presence. And so when Feyre, the main character of ACOTAR, is talking about painting, it's so annoying. It doesn't seem believable at all.
Like, I don't know. She's just kind of whiny and you're stuck in her head so much. And like the puzzle clues are just stupid. Like there's a lot of really just cheesy, stupid stuff, but obviously I eat it up because I own like everything this woman's ever written. So obviously I'm rating it. So.
Like I'm here for the ride. I will read everything she pushes out. Even if she says mate every other sentence, I'm reading it.
Mate doesn't bother me as much as maw. The fact that like every creature has like a maw. Like can they just have like mouths? Like do they have to have maws?
Or when they purr.
But still, I read them. But Emma's right. The Sookie Stackhouse books, those are really good.
Which ones are those?
They're super addictive. And I just want to read them.
Oh, I haven't heard of these. Maybe I should read these.
You have an enormous mug.
Oh, it's like, I mean, I guess proportionally that looks like the same size as my face, but it's small. It's like this.
I think I have bigger mugs than that.
Yeah. I got this from Anthropology.
Every creature does have a maw if you're Scottish. I still keep asking the dogs if they want to have FUD, and now I think of it differently because you've explained to me what FUD means, and now I just blush as I'm asking them the question. But that's okay. I can, yeah. But you should read the Sookie Stackhouse books. They really are a good time. I used to own all of them. I unhauled them years ago, and they were just fun. I don't even know if I finished the entire series. I made it. There's quite a few of them. I made it really far into it.
Yeah.
Before I got distracted with like life and stuff.
No, I'll check them out because I want a like frothy, silly read. Like obviously I read Legends and Lattes and I liked it. But I wish the stakes were just like a little bit higher. Like just a tiny bit. But it was a lot of fun. And I thought that Thistle was the most cutest, adorable character ever.
So we were talking about this, that Tor just announced they announced it was coming out a while ago, but they revealed the cover for his next book. Bookshops and something or other. We'll pull it up. But anyway, Bookshops and Bone Dust. And it's allegedly is supposed to have slightly higher stakes.
Okay.
Which makes me really happy. Because sometimes you just so this one I'm reading right now, the reason that I'm not as like in love with it, look at that cover, it makes me so happy. And there's cats, there's like cat creatures. Anyway. So there's supposed to be higher stakes in this, but the one I'm reading right now that I'm struggling through, I think is slow because it doesn't have any. This hurt my soul to see, but that's okay. I'll read it for you.
I mean, I can see why, because like nothing happens.
That's kind of what's happening in this one that I'm reading now, Cursed Cocktails. It's like good. It's not bad, but I'm not compelled to keep going. I need a little bit of something to keep reading.
Yeah. What's up with the alliterations with cozy fantasy?
I don't know. But they get stuck on stuff like that, like A Court of Thorns and Roses, a Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, or whatever it's called. They get like publishing just gets stuck in these things. Guys, It's in the comments. I love you. But I'm really, you could tell Charlene was tired. Oh yeah, by the end of all those Sookie Stackhouse books. Yeah. I mean, I got tired. I think everyone got tired. It makes me think of 7 Days in June because I don't know if you read that contemporary romance. The main character in it is a author, and she writes a like fantasy romance series, kind of like a Sookie Stackhouse, and she has like her last book to come out with, and she's just so tired. There's other stuff going on, but there's this whole little subplot about how tired she is and how it's taking her so long to write this book, and it's got to be exhausting once you get like 20 books into a series to keep writing them. How do I actually love Ireland? Thank you for asking.
Same. I've never been, but I'm sure I would like it.
Oh, I loved it. It's beautiful. I need to go back. Yeah, they do all sound cliche.
There's just so many tropes within fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
We need
But I know what I hate. I hate when people like say genre fiction and you can hear the disdain in their voice.
I agree. I think it's like silly.
A lot of people like stuff. It's okay. They can like stuff. Wait, what characters do you hate?
No, she's talking about the author. Sugi.
I'm like, wait, who are you hating now? I haven't gotten to the prize predictions. You can't hate things yet. Perhaps one day I'll go to Japan.
Oh, yeah.
One day.
I think I can't see the comments on the side anymore.
What?
Yeah, like the way we did last time. I don't know if maybe because there's the delay.
Can you see any of them?
Just when you pull them up on the bottom.
On the right-hand side, do you have like private chat comments?
Oh, I have to open it up in a different screen. Interesting.
Weird.
Yeah. Okay. No worries.
We didn't have to do that last time, right?
Yeah, I'm using my iPad. I don't know if that's why.
That could be it. But you know, I just like Sarah J. Maas. I feel like you need to let people just like things sometimes.
I agree. And you know, maybe because someone in the Discord recently asked who's your favorite living authors. And I said, you know, Salman, Rushdie, and Otassan. Those are both authors who, like, when they have a new release, I go out and I run and buy it. Same thing with Sarah J. Maas. Maybe she's my favorite.
But you kind of feel like a little embarrassed saying it when you also read lit fic, I feel like. Yeah, I feel like someone's going to be like, phony.
Well, I also feel awkward when I, like, buy the book at, like, in the bookstore and, like, I'm giving it to the cashier and I'm like, what are they thinking? Like, what judgments are they making about me?
I think the joy of being an old lady is that I don't think like that anymore. I don't care. Oh, you guys are having a whole side plot going on? What is Emmerdale?
Yeah, Emmerdale.
Is this like a TV show? This is what happens. You bring the American to the UK party.
A television show?
Is it like The Hills?
The Yorkshire version of The Hills. It's a
British
family
soap opera.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love a good soap opera.
Me too.
Oh my God, speaking of soap operas, nothing to do with this. Did you watch, I don't know if you were, did you watch Passions? Do you know what Passions is?
No.
Oh my God, I wonder if it's on YouTube. So in like the maybe late 90s, early 2000s, they came out with this new soap opera called Passions. And there was like a magical element to it. Like there was a witch and this doll boy and like all this others. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. And it just the plots were just absolutely nuts. Like so melodramatic, so crazy. I lived for that. I would like DVR it and watch it when I got home from school.
Okay, I'll look into it. That sounds fun.
I have to be. Oh, soap opera set in a country village. Oh,
That's
fun.
cute.
Oh, see, exactly like The Hills. No, everyone cheats on everybody. People get murdered basically every year.
That's what it's like to live in a village.
I'm just, you know, the TV we get just tells me that if you live in a small village in England, you're probably going to die. Or you're going to be a murderer.
One or the other. No other options.
Somehow. One way or another.
But it's funny that you bring up soap operas because, jumping ahead a little bit, that's kind of what Victory City reminded me of. It was like very extended, lots of family members, people coming in and out, someone's going to die, oh no, what's happening, exile. It was a big soap opera.
Do you want to talk about Victory City? We can end on predictions.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get the anticipation going.
Yeah. Keep people wondering what's on our really amazing, totally going to be accurate lists for Booker and Women's Prize.
Very well researched. We looked into everything and yes. But okay, Victory City. Sunset Beach. Wow.
Did we have that, or did they just make it for you guys? I don't remember that one.
Sunset Beach.
I mean, come on.
Like, everyone has advice.
You need a good vice. What were Katie and I talking about the other day or yesterday? Towie. Like, I watched Towie like religiously every time it came out on Hulu, a new season. I was invested in those people. I wanted to know what was happening. I followed them on Instagram for a while. Like, I knew like everything that was going on in their little lives. I was totally invested. There are no Carol Shields.
When is that happening?
That's tomorrow. No, tomorrow's Women's Prize. Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Apparently at 7 a.m. Pacific time. So like 10 o'clock.
So 10 a.m. East, 2 o'clock London.
That we're getting Carol Shields. And next week you get
Booker.
And if I said that wrong, I'll get yelled at.
Mr. Blobby.
What's Mr. Blobby?
No.
I know what EastEnders is.
Yeah,
love me some Doctor Who. Wait, I say I love some Doctor Who, but it kind of went downhill for me after David Tennant. But David Tennant's back, so I have to come back.
Nice. I've actually never watched that. I'm like not good at television. And movies. There's like lots of things that I haven't seen, but I like know the visual references. I just don't watch a lot of things.
No, I don't either, but there's things that I really do enjoy, and I do watch those. What have you missed? Not much. We're talking about how guilty pleasures should be
less guilty.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with reading genre fiction. Sarah J. Maas. Watching soap operas.
Yeah.
We don't know who Mr. Blobby is.
No, we don't.
I don't want to know what I do want to know what Mr. Blobby is if you're telling me this.
I Googled a photo. It was a little alarming.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy. What is...
Frightening.
Yeah. How did children sleep at night? Or was this not for children? Was this for adults?
I think it was for adults.
I hope nobody woke up and came downstairs and saw that.
Traumatized.
There's no hope for me anymore. Yes, Women's Prize announcement is tomorrow sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that too. I read the plot of a horror movie on like Wikipedia. I would never watch them, but I like read. I'm like, okay, this is gonna happen. And sometimes I'm like, oh, the plot synopsis on this one wasn't that good. I have to go somewhere else to get more details. I do that.
I don't mind a good. I like being scared.
I think life is scary enough.
I think I'm just the tiniest bit dead inside, so I need like things
like,
just
yeah.
make me feel feelings. Like, oh God, Mr. Blobby is. I'm concerned. I'll have to watch something about Mr. Blobby at some point here. Adam, you have missed nothing other than it's okay if
Mr.
you read
Blobby.
shitty books that make you happy and Mr. Blobby. We've been introduced to Mr. Blobby. It was for children?
That's bad.
Are British children okay?
Saturday night family time, Mr. Blobby.
They did not sleep between it. Explains so much. Yes, now we know how to find Adam secretly on the internet. I don't know. Victory City. So how many Rushdies have you read now?
I've read a lot. Like most of them, I would say most of them except for Midnight's Children, Satanic Verses, so the two big guys, and then like a few very smaller works that I haven't read. But I would say that I thought Victory City, if you haven't read any Rushdie, is a really good entry point. It seems it's very accessible. Like, yeah, there are references thrown in and allusions and stuff, but I think for the most part, you could just read it surface level if you wanted to.
Not everyone's confirming that British children are not okay.
Explains so much.
I'm sure we have something equally as creepy, but perhaps I can't objectively like see it because we grew up with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of children's television that I didn't get to see, especially the things on cable because I didn't have cable growing up. So if it wasn't on PBS, I probably didn't see it. But I'm sure there's plenty of creepy stuff. But for Victory City, so this is my second Rushdie. And I started with the one whose name I never remember. It's like the 28 days.
7 days, 9 months, whatever.
And you get to 1001 Nights is what you get to. And that was just so all over the place where I felt like, yeah, I can see why people really like this guy, but also what the hell is going on here? I don't understand. So this was a lot more, like you said, accessible. So I'm enjoying this, but it's also making me scared to read other things to see where they fall on the spectrum of just fever dream and accessible.
Well, I guess the accessibility of it almost draws me to my criticism of it in the regards that it could either have been like cut and pared down, or because we were spanning 275 years or whatever, I think we could have gone into more detail because it really just felt like we were floating by, just going wicked fast. And that was, go ahead.
I would say it was really fast paced, which I did enjoy that, but I also felt like, because I don't have any background on a lot of, I guess, the history it's actually sitting on top of or drawing from, there's pieces that I'm missing while you're going really fast. And I get that if you have that, well, I guess it's the kind of thing where do you write things with the assumption that your audience knows everything, or do you write things with the assumption that they don't and you fill stuff in? And I think sometimes when you know the thing, doing the latter is really annoying. But when you don't know, you kind of wish you had a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice. But I mean, I was reading it with you guys. And so every so often someone would fill in a piece of something. So it was helpful to read in a buddy read situation for me.
Definitely. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of fell off the map on that. It took me a long time to read this book because I think, and that's also part of my experience of reading Rushdie. Like, you can't binge him in the way that you can Sarah J. Maas. Like,
yes.
At some point you need a break. And I took a break during the exile and I was like, I need an exile. Like, I gotta go.
I feel like I would get really into it while reading it. And then
you put it down and you're like,
I'm like, I'm going to read something else for a bit. And I did finish it relatively quickly, but again, I like sometimes I just zip through. There was no zipping through. And yes, we are having a serious conversation about books and Mr. Blobby at the same time.
Range.
this is what you come here for. And I don't know why the Welsh flag is censored on. Yeah, it comes
That's
up
weird.
you can't even see it. Do you see that little black flag in there?
Yeah.
We have to talk to is it YouTube or StreamYard, do you think, that is?
Well, you can see the flag on YouTube now. So it must be StreamYard.
Maybe StreamYard doesn't like Welsh things. StreamYard's going to come out and yell at us and tell us we're being nasty.
Spreading vitriol.
But no, I have not started One Moonlit Night yet. So
I'm waiting for the library.
I have it, but I'm trying to finish a couple things. I'm trying to get through Liberation Day, and Burial Rites before I start anything else right now. Yeah, other people have flags. No flag. We're gonna have to do something about this hate to the Welsh people. Victory City longlisted for the Booker.
I think it could be. I could see it.
But do you think it could be because of the book or because it's Rushdie?
I think it's because it's Rushdie, and
he got stabbed in like the eyeball this year. It's like only fitting that he get nominated for something somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what a badass. Like, let him go. Like,
I know.
They fear the dragon. What do they fear from Scotland? Okay, we can't start any more revolutions here on these lives. But no, I mean, what I enjoyed about this one was I know that Katie said that Rushdie's not great at doing women, but I felt like in general this was fairly like a well-written woman.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like I don't know why, if there is this magical element to it, why she couldn't have
done so many different things.
Yeah, like why did she make the choices she made, and why did she allow like the women in to be just like treated like shit throughout the story? It feels weird to me.
I know that was my problems with the book, because there were multiple times where I was like, why did you do that? Why didn't you do it like this? Like, and I don't normally, obviously I know in some regards, like that's a normal way to feel about certain characters in certain books, but I don't normally feel that way when Rushdie does magical realism stuff. But with this one, I was just like, if she just did this, we could have avoided all of this.
Yeah, because there was like it was a plot hole. It wasn't just a choice. It was a legit plot hole. Sorry, somebody's walking a new doggy I haven't seen.
Oh.
Get distracted by the doggies. But sorry, I'm trying to I feel like I'm on like fire with this light today. Anyway. I'm never gonna get that to work. I just feel like she had so much power, allegedly, that she could have filled a lot of those plot holes on her own, and she didn't need to be relying on all the men around her and all these stupid people to do things. Yeah, I didn't. That part annoyed me a lot. I know that. I don't know. Were you bored in the forest? Because I didn't find the forest boring.
I think it could have been like shortened. I think it makes sense for like why it happened if we're drawing from like the Hindu mythology. There's a lot of people always going into exile, so it's like makes sense that we would have that. It was just wicked long. But then also, and I know like in some regards maybe you shouldn't always be drawing from an author's personal life, but it did make me think about how Rushdie himself did experience exile when he went into hiding, and that kind of parallel almost I thought was an interesting thing to think about.
Does he have a lot of hiding in other books? Is this a concept that he touches on?
I don't really think so. But I think in here it's really stood out to me just thinking about that. Yeah. I don't know, maybe Katie has more of an opinion.
They're busy talking about deep frying things and
Ah.
drifting curry sauce pizza. Who had the banana pizza? Because if that comes up, I'm kicking you off.
Oh gosh.
I have to say I am glad that for the meme of throwing this book and annoying Katie that I bought it, because I wasn't really sold on Rushdie 100% after the first one, and my next one was going to be Midnight's Children, and I'm not sure if back to back those would have been good books. So I'm glad that I have this sort of in between to give me a different perspective on his writing. Yeah. But I mean, I was just gonna say, I do think he like says some really great lines in here, like commentary on just politics and colonialism and all of that. And I think that those moments really shine in here. But that giant plot hole of like, why didn't she just make things the way she wanted them if she really does have all this power is kind of annoying.
I agree. And I think that like the book is also a really great allegory, and you're able to draw so many parallels with leadership and politics today, and the way that how Bumpa or whatever is like whispering into people's ears and like forming their opinions, and how like media and whatever is able to do that. I thought those kind of that allegory was like very fascinating, and to see how different leaders, those who are more like open-minded and down with all the religions, like how they prospered versus those who didn't, and the different vices that the kings went into. Like that was all very interesting. But yeah, I thought that was a parallel.
Yeah, I like that like Rasputin-y character. What was his name? That like creepy guy gave me
the priest.
Yeah, did anybody else like was I the only one who just kept thinking Rasputin the entire time, but like make him religious? He just felt like very much like this person coming in out of, the sidelines and manipulating everything and having enough charm that they gain power and influence and a group of followers, I guess. And it just I didn't like it.
I didn't like him because for so many reasons. I also feel like she could have like maneuvered herself out of him like later on in the book. Like she could have done something. But I also feel like he was a really good villain.
Yeah.
And I wish he stayed longer to be more of a villain. He kind of fizzled out.
And what did happen to him? I feel like he was around for too long, and then he just stopped existing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's culty? The chippy shop? There's a whole conversation happening and just around everybody's hungry. Chicken nugget pizza.
That sounds okay.
That's the least offensive pizza beable some of the people in this chat section have come up with in recent times. I get very sensitive when you guys come up with just insane pizzas.
I'm not like a big pizza lover. I like pasta more personally.
Oh, my guy. My Rasputin guy. He has
he kind of was a cult figure.
He does. Yeah, he does kind of have this. What are they called? Like they're not aesthetics. What are the people that go out into like? Oh God, what are they called? They're not esoterics. There's something in that like sort of sounding
originally
word.
He was an aesthetic.
Something. It's something. Maybe I'm not. I know I'm not saying this right. But anyway, there's people that like just get rid of everything and they go live like away from everybody and they live on. I don't think that.
I think that is that word.
That right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's this one. So I think that means that you have it's like a type of acid.
It's the one with an S.
It's this one.
Yeah.
Like I know it's something like this word.
We're such great readers.
It's coming to the tip of my. Oh, and you're just mad because you can't have gluten.
Yeah. Get over yourself. Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, Owen, I literally just ate rice with butter and salt last night because I had extra rice from making dinner, and I just ate that.
Nice.
It was fine.
Pastagate now.
Pastagate. I do love me all the carbs. I do not discriminate unless you put fruit on my pizza that is not a tomato. But no, I enjoyed it. I do think that he could have gone more into Victory City. He could have made it bigger, fleshed it out more.
I agree.
But I also don't know if he had to. Like, I think it stands fine on its own. But as somebody who's ignorant of a lot of the background, it kind of would have been nice to have a more, I guess, like substantial epic tome that gives you a little bit more detail.
Yeah, but I guess maybe he as an author just feels like he's already done that. He's like, he's two big guys behind him. He's like, I'm done.
Oh God, Spaghetti Gate. Spaghetti Gate is not my tale to tell. Oh God, I'm getting a lot of fights over here about asinine things.
Food is very central to our conversations and where we get most of our controversial opinions.
Food, kettles, the temperature.
Yes.
You will start a war. Yeah. I mean, other than I think I just tried to eat a piece of paper. Other than Victory City, what do you think is another good entry point?
I think like if Haroon and the short stories, like those are good. You don't need a lot of info on them. I think the Enchantress of Florence, 5 things that matter, like food. Yeah, exactly. The Enchantress of Florence was also a good one that I liked, that I don't think you need a lot of prior information. My favorite is Shame, but I definitely think I need to reread that. That one focuses a lot on like Pakistan's origin story, kind of. And that one, I really liked that a lot.
Is there a good book for people who don't have a lot of historical background on these things that want them so they can get better understanding of Rushdie?
Like a history book or
like accessible history book?
There is one that I had to read in undergrad.
Really, I'm asking for myself.
There is one that I read that was really good.
I have the Enchantress of Florence somewhere in this house behind me, and I cannot see it.
Well, I think like with Rushdie, what makes his work so hard is that he is such an intellectual man. Like he's always pulling from other like literary texts and traditions for his work. So sometimes if you don't have that, like don't know what that source material is, then it makes it really difficult. And like for example, Kieran and I recently read Grimace, which was Rushdie's debut novel, and for that debut novel, which is really weird, it's so weird, it's like very much so written in this like from the 70s, like lots of weird stuff happens that if it was published now people would be like no, but his like source material or his like inspiration for it was the Conference of the Birds, which was an epic Sufi poem from like 15th century, something like that. And because I had read that in undergrad, I was like, oh, okay, like I can see it, I understand. But I think how like who knows about the Conference of the Birds? It's such a random thing. So if you don't know that, then you're lost.
Is there anybody who's like made a compendium of like, if you want to read this Rushdie, read this first?
I don't think so, but that's a really good idea.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's like a starter kit or a
yeah. Like you're gonna pick up book A, and here's 2 really good, companion pieces to read, so you understand the text better.
Yeah, I think that's something Kieran and I should work on.
You should work on that because I mean, I would enjoy that, and the writing is really good, so there's no reason to keep yourself from reading a really good writer just because you lack the historical background, because it's just not something that gets taught in the West.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, it makes you less of an ignorant human being. Oh, it has nothing to do with Twitter. Oh, look, Emma's trying to start a fight.
No, we're not here. This is not today.
Okay, I will give this one to Emma. I read the first short story in Liberation Day, and I did not dislike it. And that is the nicest thing I'm going to say so far from Saunders.
I haven't read like a lot of his work. I've only read one short story in like a writing class, and I was like, there's like, I don't know, it was about like a ballet dancer, a little girl, something like that. But I know that I should probably read some of his work, especially if we're gonna make these like comparisons with certain other authors. I should maybe read up on him.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it hurt Emma to see that I'm unhauling Lincoln in the Bardo, and that I didn't very much enjoy Lincoln in the Bardo. I didn't hate it. I just don't feel like I need to own it. And I do like what he was kind of doing with it in terms of grief and Lincoln and his son and all of that. And this like liminal in between space between life and death and all of that. And grieving and all and everything. And how even those that are dead are kind of trying to accept the fact that they're dead as well. So there was a lot that was interesting in there, and I do think it's a fantastic book to read as a book club. I think if you have a group of people, there's a lot to dissect and talk about, but I don't see myself like it didn't make me fall in love with Saunders, and I didn't feel like it needed to stay here. I did hem and haw over it a little bit. I was like, do I? But yeah.
Well, what I realized is that sometimes with
because that's what happens here today.
Yeah.
We also have an assignment for you and Karen, and that is to make a list of like Rushdie books and companion pieces to read so you better understand the text. I think you missed that. So you have homework.
What I was going to say is like sometimes I feel like especially in the last year of being on BookTube or being like, oh, there's certain big authors you should read, and some people go hard for them, but I realized that you don't need to read all of their work. Like sometimes it's good to just read one thing and you're like, okay, I got a taste. I know what it's about. I don't need to read anymore. Like I feel that way kind of about Rachel Cusk. I've read like 2 of her books. I don't really think I need to read more. Elizabeth Strout, I don't think I really need to read more. Like
don't think
you've read a lot more of her work.
I've only read 3 and I regret 2 of them. Well, I'm only going to probably read Liberation Day, and that's about it. So we'll see how I compare that to the other. Oh
wow.
Huh.
That's cool.
That is cool. You can bang on about Doctor Who all day. We love it. We're here for it. I love all the weird. I feel like Doctor Who is one of those series that really. I feel like it's kind of like The Simpsons in the fact that it's been running for so long, and it does pull from so many different cultural things that you can make these like connections to the story from what seemingly is a very strange place.
Yeah.
I also just love Doctor Who. So, what were we talking about before I got distracted by Doctor Who?
George Saunders.
Oh, we do love.
Wow, nice.
Well, come back and let us know. Pimp it out, Tony. No, but I mean, I liked Saunders when I was reading him. I just don't know if you don't always fall in love with the authors that you read. And like, I read my first Moshfegh and was like, I need more. I need more. But I didn't feel that way with Saunders. Is he the best though? Is he Emma? Or is he second to David Tennant? We're going to fight now. He's better than the other guy. I don't like whoever came after him. I don't like that guy. Yeah. So Enchantress of Florence.
Yeah, and I also think Quixote is fairly accessible. I liked that one. Yeah. Oh. This is a very divisive chat. Lots of things.
I'm going to put a book on my women's prize prediction that's not eligible just to piss you off. We're going to talk all about the swimmers.
Yes.
Oh, well, there's too many. Debating over the best Doctor Who is going to always cause a fight. Anyway, this is divulging into, or divulging. No, wrong words. Diverting into Doctor Who. I actually slept last night too, so I should not be this bad at speaking today. And we're not getting yelled at, so
there's no pressure.
There's no pressure for it.
Yet.
Oh God, I would die though if we just got like a hello.
Hi guys, just wanted to come into the chat and tell you that Saunders actually is better than Rushdie.
And I love Mr. Blobby.
The vitriol against Mr. Blobby is too much. The nastiest thing I've ever experienced.
Oh, okay. Oh, the eligibility for the women's prize. This is in my little list here. Any woman writing in English, whatever her nationality, country of residence, age, or subject matter is eligible. Novels must be published in the UK between April 1st in the year the prize called for entries, so that's the previous year, and March 31st of the following year, so this year, when the prize is announced. So those are the rules. You get 16 of them, and then it gets whittled down to 6, and then one winner.
I think 16 is a really big, long list.
It is a really big, long list.
Like, that's excessive.
No yelling today. We're only gonna yell at each other about like pasta and pizzas and Doctor Who's. This is nice, safe space. I figured these out yesterday. I say this like I'm some sort of expert. Would you like to come on and explain the prize to everybody? Anyway, I do think it's really long. I do think just in general, the submission like criteria is so broad that it's making predictions for this is just silly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're doing it because it's fun and it's being announced tomorrow and it's a good time, but to be like serious, like I think it's going to be, we have no idea. We have no idea what's being submitted. There's too many books to choose from. It's too long of a long list. Like, where are they going to go with it? Are they going commercial? Are they going, they making nods to people they've had before? What are they doing? It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of books. Do you know what I saw? Somebody was talking about, and I can't remember where I saw it, but somebody was talking about how they're trying to read all the Nebula Prize winners. And if you're talking about sci-fi prizes, that's insane.
Oh, wow.
Because a lot of those are like the 6th book in a series. And so now you have to read the entire series to get to that. I need coaching from Bob the Booker.
Yeah.
Me or Tony. I am not Bob. Bob is king.
He reads a lot of the prizes. It's just amazing.
Bob is king.
Yeah.
Ooh, what's a Wolfson? There's too many prizes. Okay.
Wolfson History Prize.
I liked the Le Guin prize list from last year. I know that Adam didn't like employees, but I did.
So this is all for history books? That's kind of cool.
Wolfson one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of fun. I bet you it would be fun to read the winners from this.
Yeah, I think so too.
You'd at least be educated.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe, does the UK have more prizes than the US?
Probably. I don't think that reading is as big here. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to my fellow compatriots. Last year I managed by fluke to read all the Booker shortlist before the announcement. See, I can't. So this is what I can't do. I want to read too many things. So saying that I'm going to read the entire shortlist in like
X amount of time.
Yeah, I can't do it. I get distracted. So that's why doing it with BB, who's BB, with Dee Dee, and that reading a Booker every month, it works for me. It's a nice pace for me. And then I hear all of you guys yell about how you hate, something. And then I will get there, and then I get to hate on it too.
I kind of liked I thought The Employees was fun.
Well, there's a women's prize nonfiction now, right? So we're getting there. See?
I feel like now I need to read the Carol Shields Prize long list just to be in with the bit.
But are people really, other than the people in our immediate sphere, really caring about this Carol Shields
the only
Prize?
People are talking about it.
Does it have a bigger following outside of all of us that
I don't even know who Carol is.
I don't know who Carol is. I don't know who Carol is.
Yeah, the George Orwell list is good.
Is what official? The Orwell list?
Carol Shields?
The nonfiction list for the Women's Prize? When do we get the Le Guin Prize for next year or this year or whatever year it is? I guess it would be 23. I want to know when we get that list.
The Le Guin Prize for Fiction.
Yeah, The Past Was Read is really good. If you like Catherine M. Valente, and I do. Love her. David Mitchell was a judge.
For which one?
For the Le Guin Prize. And Becky Chambers. That one I'm excited for, but I don't know when they do that. I feel like that's later in the year.
There must be a website that has everything. So that we
Prize overview.
Sorry?
I said prize overview. For 2023, it's April 1st of 22 to March. So it's the same as the Women's Prize.
Okay.
So they must be long listing soon. They'll announce in early 23, both the selection panel and the prize will be announced in early 23. Isn't it early 23? We're almost.
Are we done with early 23?
It's got to be coming soon.
Yeah.
Yes, Catherine M. Valente. Sorry, I got really excited. I only had her 2 Tor novellas and her middle grade about the Bronte kids, which is fantastic and punny and great. And then I realized she has this whole other wealth of writing that wasn't out with Tor yet. So I'm really excited to get more Valente. We would be here for the rest of our lives if we read all the nominees ever for the Hugo Award. For the Hugo Award this year, I need more specificity on that.
That seems like a really good prize, though, with everything they do.
There's just so many prizes.
I know.
Who's getting sponsored by pajamas?
The nonfiction woman prize. And Libby, obviously.
And Libby, yeah.
Yeah.
Who gives you... Oh, Catherine M. Valente gives you middle class vibes? I mean... What if that's not even her name? What if it's like Cheryl Birkins or something? And she just made it sound nice. Small Things Bleep Peck to the Political Fiction Prize. Like small things like these? And your little plucky book?
Did you read that?
No, because it's not for sale in the US.
Oh, I haven't read it either.
And I'm on a book buying ban, so I can't just get it. And it's much harder to source a book when it's not available in your in your country. What is the Cheryl Perkins prize? I'll start that next year. That'll be then it won't be the Pleck Awards. You'll get a Plecky and it'll be called the Cheryl Perkins prize. for vile literature.
Yeah, I think that's good.
No, it doesn't count when Jesus buys me books. Though apparently it counts when Alex buys
Katie books.
Katie books.
That's allowed.
But they share an account, so it's different. Jesus and I don't, so it's different money. But anyway, do we want to go into actual things instead of
yeah. Let's do
it. We have picks. Hold on. Let me share the screen. Do you want to do yours? Or do you want to do what? We want to do the women's prize?
Let's do the women's prize first because we've talked about it the most so far.
I think it's this one. Yeah. Here we go. Look at that. We have such a nice graphic. Thanks to Kieran. We're so good. We're like almost professional.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's getting nastier. Okay, so I have not read most of these. I did extensive research on YouTube and watched people and decided to pull the ones that either got mentioned the most or that I actually thought would fit kind of nicely. There's a couple that I think I don't really want to have on this list, but that just kept freaking coming up. Don't do burpees. They are from the devil. Okay. They are the nastiest thing that has ever happened to me. I'm not okay with a burpee. Oh, they're awful. Anyway, so so I there's some obvious ones, I think, like Barbara Kingsolver, not Kingslover, Stephen Copperhead. In my head, that is not her name. It takes me, I have to really concentrate to say her name even remotely correctly. I will be reading Demon Copperhead this month.
I want to read it.
I feel like that's just a name that has to be there just to skip a few. I feel like the same with The Marriage Portrait. I feel like Maggie O'Farrell is going to be there somehow. That has to be there. The same with Burnham Wood. I feel like those are kind of, they have to exist on this list somehow. But the Jessica George one that just came out, Maame, I think is how we say it. I do have this, and I didn't realize that it was this like big of a book until
big of a book, isn't it thick?
No, like in terms of, I just thought it was just like kind of like a more commercial book. I didn't really think that it was going to be a book that was going to start popping up on prize lists, but it has popped up on so many women's prize lists that I think that'll be an interesting one. For our Irish readers, I think Trespasses will be that one seemed to come up a lot.
Yeah.
And I do own this now, so I'm curious to read it. I hope that it is on the list because it'll move me to read it more. The same with The Spell of Good Things. My friend Naomi started this. She actually got a second copy from the publisher so she could send it to me, so I now have it. But this has been getting a lot of buzz, and I'm really excited to get to this. And I feel like it could be a women's prize kind of contender. But I feel like you're going to be fighting these bigger names. Like,
I really want Demon Copperhead to make it. I haven't even read it, but like I am attached to the book.
Yeah. I'll let you know how I feel about it. I'm getting to it this month. But I feel like you're going to see Maggie O'Farrell. I feel like that's going to be one of those nod books where you're going to be like, well, you have to put her on.
She has to, yeah.
But with the list of 16, I don't know if it matters if you just throw away a one or two. But Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which for some reason I always thought was the different Gabriel, like the man Gabriel. I just, in my head, that was maybe because that's Jesus's brother's name, so I just associate all Gabriels with men.
Yeah.
I do own this, and the publisher did send this to me, and I'm very curious about it because everybody seems to really like it, but I know it also gets some snark in the Discord. But I'm curious. I could see this being on a long list, maybe not shortlisted, but I could see it being longlisted just because of the buzz. It has to have been submitted, like at a minimum.
Definitely.
Black was a pity edition.
No Plex slander.
Oh, the two at the bottom are just bonuses that I wasn't sure that I still think could maybe sub in for one of those.
Wild card.
They're wild cards. Those are my wild card picks. The Book of Goose, everybody keeps talking about, and I was just watching the Colm Toibin, I said his name wrong, his interview with the Portover podcast. And even they talked about this book and how much he was like absolutely in love with Yi and Lee's first book, I guess, and how like this is just the author's supposed to be phenomenal. I have not read anything from them, but
I love the cover of this book.
I see it everywhere. It seems to be getting a lot of buzz. It seems to be like high on people's lists for this. So
yeah.
Burnham Wood, I just know that those of you that are in the Discord, all the pleckies that have read it have liked it. This Meg Howry, They're Going to Love You, is ballet and AIDS crisis, I think. And I just feel like that's artsy enough to possibly get on a woman's prize. And if an Egyptian cannot speak English, I have no idea what this is about, but I want to read it specifically based on the cover. Something about this cover is very compelling to me, and I need.
My sister read it. She said it was fun.
Yeah, it's just something about it. Everybody, I'm mad that I have the Rabbit Hutch on here.
No. I'm sick and tired of hearing. I've never read this book. I don't really know a lot about what's happened. I'm just sick and tired of hearing about it. And
I have to read it this month. I do have to read it this month for the BookTube prize. So I don't have opinions currently, and if I did, I couldn't really say very much about it. But I don't want it on the women's prize. There's something about it. It's kind of like giving me Booth vibes, where I have a thing where there's something about it that I don't. This is so like judgmental because I've never even read the book, but there's something about it that I just don't want to. Just doesn't feel right to me. Watch It Wins. It just doesn't feel right to me. There are more things. This is for Owen. That's all. I don't even know. Did you read this book? You didn't, right? You said you didn't. No. So I'm assuming,
but it's become a defining part of my life now. You know?
Yeah. Wait, there's no goose in the Goose book, but there's a stolen goat.
So it should have been called the Book of
Goose.
Goats.
Is a horrible goose stealing things in a quiet English village.
That sounds great.
Oh God, it's like Midsummer Murders, but make it geese. And I do think Latvona will be in there.
That's exciting. That's interesting. I kind of don't think Latvona's gonna get longlisted for anything.
I think it would be longlisted because it's Moshfegh and it's freaking weird. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, let our girl Moshfegh win everything, but I just don't think so. There's a goat in Rabbit Hutch.
I will let you know when I get there this month if there's a goat. I will confirm goat. If it's shortlisted, well, you're not reading it. I don't think it's going to be shortlisted. The Furrows, I cannot remember what this is about, but I remember when somebody told me about it, I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds interesting. So when I saw the cover again in somebody's list, so I was like, yes, 100%. I've only seen Babel come up like once, but I think it's a good shoo-in for a
mention. I think it'd be cool if it got longlisted.
I think it would be a good mention for long list. And then I don't agree with Briefly a Delicious Life, but it just kept coming up. I know it was nominated for or longlisted for the Dylan Prize. It is well written and it is interesting, but I also don't think that it does anything particularly special. So I don't know why people feel like it should be on this list other than I don't know what, because I don't know. I don't know why people want it on the list so bad, but I did. It just keeps coming up, so I did put it on here. I did put my wild cards of On the Savage Side and Bad Creed because I feel like books coming out of the US that could maybe work are those two. And Bad Creed is like very interesting and has gotten a decent amount of buzz, but like that quiet kind of buzz that you don't really hear about, but you only hear about in literary circles. You know that one, like Babel's everywhere buzz. But Bad Crew's really interesting. It's a literary horror, and it talks about really basic human things like grief and losing your sister, but also touches on like First Nations peoples in the Canada, and sort of claiming your connection with your own land, reclaiming your connection with your family and your culture. Different. It's really it's got a lot of depth for something so short. And yeah, like I feel like Babel has to at least be longlisted. And the fact that it only came up, I mean, I didn't watch like every video or read every blog post, but of the maybe like 10 or 12 things that I scrubbed or skimmed, this was the only one that I only saw like one person that even mentioned Babel. And I thought that was really strange given how much hype it had.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So those are my 16 and my 2 wild cards.
But imagine if the long list was Asian books. Oh my God.
I would be like, done. Not doing any more book content for the year. I can do no more.
Yeah.
So. Long list this year for Babel, short list. Yeah, Yellowface I'm really interested in. Yellowface is coming out in May, and it is a contemporary, which doesn't write a lot of contemporary, and it's about an Asian, I think she's an Asian American author, but like an Asian author writing a book and getting all this acclaim, but the author isn't actually Asian. And yeah, so it's this whole discussion about, race and America and publishing, and I think it's supposed to be a pretty scathing
critique
of publishing. So yeah, I'm really excited for Yellowface. I've seen a couple galleys going around, and I wish I was fancy enough to get one, but I'm not. So
did you read Babel?
Yes, I did like Babel. I was not absolutely in love with Babel in the sense, because I don't think that she does a really good job at making 3-dimensional fantasy characters, and this is supposed to be a fantasy. So I'm very interested in how she does it contemporary, because I don't think you need to make them quite as 3-dimensional, because I don't have, like, they just have to be believable people. They don't have to also have powers or do anything else, and I'm really excited to see how she does contemporary, because the messaging in Babel is fire. Love it.
Yeah.
The commentary she has on colonialism and language and all kinds of things, all the political parts of it are phenomenal. So I can't wait to see how she does contemporary literature. So I'm psyched.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
It's coming out this year?
No, Yellowface comes out this May.
Oh, okay, soon. Yeah, cool.
The thing is, so my problem with the Poppy War is the same thing with this 3-dimensional character thing. So I got through the first 2 books. Poppy War, fantastic. Second book, did not care as much. I still haven't read the 3rd book, and I don't know if I'll ever complete the series unless I'm bored. Because I'm not compelled.
She's really young, the author.
She's super young. I think she wrote the Poppy War maybe early college. Whew. Yeah, she's really young. My hold for what is that?
That's like a contender for IB. It has the cover of the blue god from Hinduism, and it's about like something race related that's kind of tied to like Yellowface, like that kind of theme.
Oh, that one. Yes. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, let's pull up yours and we can IB it. I think I did a decent job hitting the criteria. Thank you for Women's Prize. I was relatively good.
Okay. So I also, did my research. I watched some videos, and there were some books that kept on getting mentioned a lot. Our Share of Night, Chinatown, the Kawakami, All the Lovers in the Night, Strega, Stillborn, which is a Fitz. So like obviously in my list, my long list, I've not included a Fitzcarraldo pick, which is kind of scandalous because, you know, they do so well in this prize.
You've been yelled at.
I looked at the Goodreads situation. I thought that list was accurate.
You have now been canceled. If we were real streamers, we'd have like a stream board and sounds, and we could like make this a
the
whole cancel comes across the stream.
Oh my goodness. God. Next year I'll get this right.
It's all right. We could just replace.
But the rest are fine, right? Because
he like this graphic was barely up, and he's like wrong.
I really feel like Owen should be making videos.
Owen should be making videos. I think Owen should be in an RPG game because I feel like he would be really unhinged, and nobody believes me, but I think that Owen would be super unhinged.
I think so too. Okay, well, that was
we'll put our share of night in there. I'm gonna eat a croissant while you do this.
Yeah, add more salt on the wound. I chose books that, because I feel like International Booker, everyone is always like, yeah, Owen's was waiting. I mean, someone had to make a mistake, and I made it. I wanted to pick books that I haven't heard mentioned a lot in these videos because I think that the International Booker is the one that can kind of go far left and do whatever. So running through these books, first up, we have Absence. This is about, and it's very, yeah, he is unhinged. Absence is about unconscious artistic creation and the power of unconditional love, split narrative. There's letters being written and a painter. So I feel like that really gravitates towards, yes, this is the International Booker picks.
We switched.
Yeah, we switched. Yeah, we're done with the women. It's time for the world. And so I think that could kind of gravitate towards, you know, art-related vibes being out there. Next up, we have German Fantasia, which is 5 interconnected stories. I know, we don't like short stories, but these interconnected short stories tell the complex history of Germany. And I think because they're interconnected, they're like palatable for people who don't like short stories.
I love a good interconnected short story.
When they're done well, great.
I know that others don't, but I do.
Yes. Okay. And so then Wake Me Up at 9 in the Morning is about a local gangster who's found dead in his village, and it's a kind of a whodunit situation, and they're trying to figure out what's happening. I think that sounds fun. Satisfaction is an introspective novel on thoughts, feelings, and impressions of this woman, a French woman living in Algeria in the late 1970s. So I think, yeah, it's very evocative, interesting. That sounds great. Walking Practice, which I think has a beautiful cover, tells the story of an alien, I think, that comes to Earth and is like, oh my God, I have to deal with gravity and all this stuff, and then starts hunting for food, killing humans, and it's questioning his own personhood. So I feel like that's just an interesting.
That sounds bookery.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I actually, honestly, looking at my long list, they're all kind of books that I want to read. So I think I might read this list that I put together, even if Cassandra doesn't make it in the eligibility rules. I'm like interested. I'm intrigued by my list.
Make that our share of night, because that'll 100% be on the long list.
I don't want to read that though. It's like
I do.
So big. Okay, so then The Censor's Notebook is about life within communist Romania, and I think because of that censorship element, it's applicable to conversations we have in the modern day about censorship and whatever. So I think that could like fit in. Dying is Easier Than Loving is the third in a series about a woman's tormented love affair with a Russian pianist, and it's World War I. The Ottoman Empire is, you know, there in the backdrop. I think this would be really interesting book. It sounds very engrossing, and it's the third, and these people love to make us suffer.
I hate that. I hate picking a book that's in the middle of a series, and it's like, no.
And I think that this is one like last year I just dove into the books because I was told by people you didn't need to read this stuff ahead of time. I think this would be one that, like, it's a love affair. You need to know what happened in part 1 and part 2. Like, It's a commitment.
But even with the BookTube prize, I think there was an email that went around that was like, oh, some of these books are the second in a series, the third in a series. Like, you don't have to read all of the books. You can just read the book and judge it on its own merit. And I'm like, what unhinged world does somebody just read like the third book in a series without any context? Do people do that?
I mean, I did.
But like, how?
But I did it with books like okay, the Elizabeth Strout stuff, like.
Oh, well, that's different. They're like barely a series. I don't know what that is.
Exactly. That one, and then Septology, the third one I did because Kieran was just like, it's kind of the same thing repeated over and over again. Like, it's fine. But it's like okay, going back to Sarah J. Maas. Anyways, like if you were to read the third,
perfect, okay.
I have a lot on my plate, on my shoulders. If you were to read the third Sarah J. Maas book of any series, you would have no idea what's happening, what love triangles occurred, like who backstabbed who. You just can't do that. Moving on to the second row, we have A Sensitive Person.
Bye.
Oh, bye.
Thanks.
So A Sensitive Person, which is about a Czech actor who's traveling all around Europe, then goes back to his home village where he gets accused of a terrible crime and then has to go on the run with his 2 boys. So, yeah, I think that sounds fun. It's exciting. The Disappearance of Joseph Mengele is the chilling novel that situates the reader in the manhunt of the most elusive evil. Yeah, rather good. I think it sounds really fascinating. So I think that's a great pick. It seems very Booker. And then Awake is one of those from Alali editions, which they tend to do really well. They publish The Employees, and I think it seems really humorous. And I know it's the first maybe in a series, but it's going to be about, a comic delight about history of greatest minds and the not so great human body. I think it sounds very like almost esoteric. Then we have The Lost Spell, which is this is our magical realism pick because we need one of those in here. And this is about a man who turns himself into a dog and he can't turn himself back. And his wife and children didn't know that he dabbled in magic. So.
Well, they'll know now. I give me Honey, I Shrunk the Kids vibes, and that just totally aged me, but 100% gave me those vibes.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, then Call Me
Sorry for all the noise.
Is not eligible. Oh, it's okay. Which is not eligible is a story of a young boy who believes that he is, this ancient prophetess. Well, that doesn't count, so whatever. Moving on, we have The Last House Before the Mountain, which is a multi-generational. I'm gonna guess the dog is just like hanging out at the house, and they're like, "Who is this stray? They won't leave us alone."
How did Lassie tell them that Timmy fell down the well? Okay, you just find a way to communicate. You're gonna have to read and find out.
Exactly, like you're already hooked. See, you want to read the book. And then the final pick is a multi-generational family saga in World War I Austria. So
they do like a multi-generational saga.
Exactly, like it was like that other pick, More Than I Love My Life, which I did not like. It was giving me those vibes.
Yeah, so I have almost bought that book several times, The More Than I Love My Life or whatever. And before I was deeply involved in Pleckland, I wanted to read it, and then you guys keep bashing it. And why do you dislike it so much? Because it does sound like it should be compelling.
Yeah, it does sound like it should be compelling because the source material is compelling. Like that woman's life story, fascinating. However, for me, when it came to reading it, I thought that the main character was really grating and annoying, and she didn't seem like a very well fleshed out female. No, Meg. No. We agree to disagree here.
No.
And it's like the premise of the book is kind of like the main character who doesn't have a good relationship with her mother but has a great relationship with her grandmother, wants to make a documentary on her family. So they're always fucking talking about the documentary. Everything's always like, my father, the filmmaker, taught me how to, frame things like this, da 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 da. And through this, I look at my family like this. And it's just like, that's so exhausting. I was tired of hearing. I would rather watch a film at this point. I don't even watch a lot of movies. And so that was really annoying. And I think that I didn't feel like the female characters, in particular the daughter and the mother, were that well fleshed out. And I also think maybe this could be a personal preference. I don't know if I necessarily gravitate towards like multi-generational family dramas. I tend to like more singular, like focused on an individual, maybe kind of narratives. But that was my thoughts on that.
It depends on how it's done. See, but now like Meg's intriguing me again. It's heavy, and that's on brand for me. I like a good dark read. I want to be sad.
You won't really be that sad. It's not like,
I don't want to know what that means. At least it's not a dog.
No, there's like a scene. I don't know. I think it's like there's a lot of buildup before you even get to the payoff, and I didn't find the payoff to be that worth it by the time I got there.
So maybe library book.
Yeah, definitely library book. You don't need to own it.
Yeah.
And like you'll read it very quickly. I think it took me like a weekend.
So the International Booker doesn't seem to have the same sort of weird association with like children essay weird things, because I feel like or maybe I'm just maybe just Shuggie Bain and God of Small Things have that similar vibe.
Of like children?
Yeah. And like I don't think International Booker picks up on that as like, I just feel like the Booker seems to really like sort of more twisted sexual things.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And then the International Booker seems to be more like, I don't know, like familial and other things.
Maybe. I think International Booker tends to be sometimes a bit more weird.
S-A, not essay. Like letters. Just 2 letters. I'm trying not to get yelled at by YouTube and make this stream.
I mean, I think we did.
I don't even think I cursed all that much, and that for me is a lot. You're on board now? Yeah. Okay. Did I say Shuggie Bain and it made sense?
Yeah.
Less bit of weirdness. I feel like, isn't there usually some sort of strange little genre thing, like genre fiction? Is that where the magical realism comes in?
Well,
is that your non-genre?
My alien book was the weird one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
where I was going with that. Because like the Employees was also not about a kind of aliens, but like in space, weird objects. It was trippy.
The Employees was
black cover, orange on the top.
Yeah, it was humans and humanoids in space. Yeah. Oh God, not the discomfort of evening. Yeah. Was that international or was that right? That's International Booker, right? Because it's translated. Yeah. That book.
Yeah, I didn't read that one.
Yeah. I can't really discuss it openly on YouTube without YouTube being mad at me and me making words to associate with a lot of things. But it is very dark. It is very wrong. It's really weird. And I don't get why it needed to be quite that bad. I still really need to read this. Because everybody
Paradise was good.
This and like Paradise Rot, just to make 2 books with similar titles. The amount of people that are like, you have to read this. It's right up your alley. It's dark and gross and you have to read it.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was great language and it's like exactly the kind of thing I like to read. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah. What happened with the Deloriad? Weren't some of us reading the Deloriad, including myself?
I don't know. I mean, I'm intrigued to read it. I just haven't gotten around to it. Because I've heard at this point mixed things. Like it's either some people who really love it or Karen was more partial.
Yeah.
So
I think that's something that I would need to do as a buddy read, because I feel like I tried to start it and I wasn't. But I also wasn't really like in, it was kind of just on, I was like offhand trying to start it, and it didn't immediately capture me, but that doesn't mean anything. I just was like, oh, I'll give it a few pages. But I feel like it would need something. Oh, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
I think the thing with the Women's Prize too is that you still have until the end of the month to have had your book submitted, right? Because it goes until the end of April. So there's books that we might not even have on our radar that could be nominated. But I mean, Meg makes a really good point earlier. She was saying that she really hopes that none of these are on the list because like a lot of the things that you had weren't available, at least in the US, from like local libraries. But that's some of the frustrating thing about following these as an American reader is that a lot of times you don't have access to this stuff at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
His book came out April 2023, so it's going to come out. So I think it can be included. It's called An Honorable Exit.
So wait, what was I'm trying to find it.
Oh yeah, it was on the list. I saw the image of it. I just didn't pick that one because I felt like I'd already picked like war related things.
So it's really weird that the Booker, I just haven't really thought about the dates here. So the International Booker announces books in April, but they could be published anytime between the announcement date and September. No, we're in March. So they're going to say, here are my books, however many. What is it, like 8 books, 10 books? I can't remember.
13 books.
There we go. And then somewhere someone's very mad at me, I'm sure. But then you have
the eligibility dates are from October of last year until September of this year. So there's a really long
lag where like a lot of things haven't even come out yet.
Yeah. I don't really get how these people decide their dates because I'm like, okay, should have just done 2023, January to December, and we're picking the books, and that's it.
Oh, wait, so you think that those are the regular Booker dates?
Hold on. Let's do some. No, she was right. Those are the dates for International Booker. Is it?
Well, what are you giving me the wrong dates for then? You just want me to get yelled at?
Oh, no. So May 2022 to April 2023 is the date
makes
for International Booker.
Because that just makes more sense. I know that sometimes the books aren't out yet, but chaos. Thanks for the chaos. I just wanted to jazz up this live with chaos. Yeah, that makes more sense. But I don't understand why you can't just do like January to December.
Yeah, same. It's just it would make everything so much like let's standardize this one thing, guys.
But you know who is doing that? Good old Carol.
That's why we all need to support Carol Shields,
whoever she may be.
Whatever the rules are for this prize, you know.
Maybe we should look up this Carol Shields.
Yeah, I think we should. I'm going to do that now. 2023 Jury announced a new English award. Women and non-binary authors.
I mean, she looks like a lovely person. She's smiling in here. I just don't know who she is.
Is she maybe Canadian? Is that why? We don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, so this is a U.S. centered, well, in Canada, but like this side of the pond centered.
So she was born in the U.S., but she died in Canada.
Oh, I like this. Get us some books that we have access to first, and you guys have to wait for.
Wow, the winner of the prize will be awarded $150K.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's more than Booker. And then the 4 finalists received $12,000, which is that's exciting.
How did they get that much money for this prize?
They were sponsored by Pajamas.
Submission guidelines. So let's see, they're from January to December.
Good.
Novels, short story collections, graphic novels are eligible. Oh, I like the graphic novels are in there. Women and non-binary. Like. Encourages submissions by transgender women authors. Love it. Here for this. I think like the rules for each publisher get like I feel like Bob the Booker was talking about the International Booker and his nominees. He was talking about all the rules, and I was like, my eyes were glazing over. Like, you can put in this many books. Would you get this many books extra? Like, if you get do you get like bonus books if you've won before? Yeah. And it's like, my brain was breaking.
It's a lot.
She won the Pulitzer. Trust Carol. Trust in Carol.
But they didn't really specify like if there's a theme or anything for.
I'm here for a chaotic book prize, which is bizarre.
Kieran must have thrown the book out of the window.
Yeah. Only defenestrated books are allowed to be nominated.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got Melinda Gates money in there.
Oh,
that would explain it.
Divorce money. Exciting time.
Okay, well, I don't even know if I dislike Elizabeth Strout or if I just hate Amgash.
I think Lucy, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
She's a very like annoying character, and I think she's meant to be like that. She's like,
she was good for one book, and then I could.
Yeah. See, I really liked William because the character goes to Newton, Massachusetts. Like, that's where the mother-in-law is from. And I know Newton. Like, I've been there quite a bit. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, this makes sense. Like, I get it. I see the world. Like, I understand that thematically. And I liked it for that reason.
I mean, my brother went to Wheaton College for a hot minute, so I've been up there. There's not a lot going on up there. But read Olive Kitteridge. Oh no, yeah. So maybe I just don't like. It's not necessarily her writing; it's her characters. There we go. I hate her characters. But I think I really would. I said this in my wrap up. I would like to see something more about her brother. I feel like Lucy's brother is a much more compelling character, and he gets like what, a short story? I don't know what he gets in Lucy by the Sea, but he basically gets very little page time. The character
William,
super annoying.
Yeah,
and
it was very easy to read and like enjoyable.
So wait, you want me to read Lucy by the Sea because the brother gets something, or
just to make Alyssa mad?
You just want you want another play-by-play of me attempting to get through Elizabeth Strout without digging my own eardrums out or whatever, poking my eyeballs out, however I'm consuming this. If you loved Lucy's bro, maybe don't read Lucy by the Sea. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, great. I don't know if I like loved him. I'm just saying that he was a compelling character. I think her brother's got a lot of problems, which is why he's compelling. Oh, Lord.
Oh, they're announcing the launch of Carol on March 8th because it's International Women's Day. That makes sense.
Yeah, so we have a lot of prizes coming out. And I don't think that we could even make a prize list for Carol Shields.
Because we just don't know enough information.
No, I mean, it's short stories. It's everything. What I think is interesting is so there's a book that came out that we're reading. I'm reading this month. My Wing is a Pen of a Bird. No, My Pen is the Wing of a Bird, which is a collection of stories from Afghan women. And I'm surprised that that's not on some list somewhere. I feel like it has to be somewhere. There has to be a list that would capture short stories, and I would feel like that would need to be on a list, because it just feels like such a unique collection of stories.
Are you liking them?
Oh, I haven't started them yet.
Oh, got it.
But it's got like tons of buzz, and it's getting a lot of buzz because it's voices you don't hear a lot, because they don't get the chance to have a voice. And I think most of the stories are almost anonymous.
Oh, wow.
Because the world. And so I would be surprised, but I don't know where it would fit. Like, where do you put a collection of translated short stories?
I mean, it could fit into International Booker.
That's true. It would qualify. It was the most obvious Booker type prize.
Every time I just see it, I can't help be like, oh, William. Oh, William.
That's not what I think.
I think that every single time. Oh, William.
Fuck off. Anyway, how did you forget this was happening? I will get you an RPG.
It's okay. You're here now.
Um, no, I do think that, like, Elizabeth Strout will kind of always get a nod, and it does kind of feel bookery, but it is annoying. I do find it annoying that there's some people that just end up on these lists, like, we've talked about, will Hong Kang end up on, International Booker? I think that will I would be surprised if that wasn't long-listed. I would she hasn't had a book on the list in a little bit, right? So,
Yeah.
she's due for one, even though I don't know if Greek Lessons is
Deserve that.
worth it. Yeah, I don't know over other books, I don't think it's worth it, but
I see. I kind of like if I don't feel too strongly about this, but I do think I would prefer if books that were longlisted were books that were written by authors who don't get a lot of attention, because then you can spread that awareness for authors. Like we most people know who like some of these authors are. Like we don't need to give them more attention. But I know it can be a bit political because sometimes you're like, oh, so and so has never received an award. We gotta longlist them because they're so great. Eventually they'll get one.
But I feel like that's kinda hard with, I guess maybe that's easier to do with, like, the International Booker because it's so big, but harder to do maybe in Booker because it's a more narrowly focused pool. It's not the whole world,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it would be nice. But do they have book prizes for, like, debut authors?
I'm sure they must.
They must, right?
Yeah, they must.
But
They definitely do.
they have to.
Yeah. Book prizes for debut authors.
Where is Bob the Booker when you need him?
Yeah. Oh God.
I liked how Return of the King
Is
won
it the
the Oscar, even
pen?
though The Fellowship was much better. I mean, I half of the stuff is like, I also am curious about the whole judging process in general, like,
For the Oscars or for all things?
for all of these prize things, and how do they pick the people for these panels? The Oscars, I never understand for the most
Yeah.
part. There'll be something that's total shoe-in and gets snubbed for something you've never heard of. And we all kind of fight about it. But for the book prizes, I don't get. But they were like, we'd better give this an award since it's the last one. It's about time Lord of the Rings got something other than all that money. Yeah, but I'm curious about like judging the Booker and like the judges they get and the random celebrities. And do they are they even reading these books? I mean, I'm sure they're reading these books, but are they reading them the same way as some of the more literary judges?
Probably not. I think it also would probably depend on like whoever has the strongest personality and can like really advocate for their books and wear other people down.
I feel like that's how the Oscars works. It's like if you can push your movie in front of everybody. I feel like this is gonna start like a small comment fight. Because I feel like some of you don't like either of these books.
I liked both of them. I thought
I feel like I'm gonna like The Colony. I haven't gotten
I
there yet. I feel like I'm gonna like it. It
I
sounds
thought
like
it
a
was
book
like
I'll like.
it's like slow, literary. Yeah, he does.
Steve has a lot to say about a lot of things.
No, but
Oh
I really
god,
like
what is
Colin.
The Brattle, by the way?
Oh, the Brattle is a bookshop in Boston, like in downtown Boston, that sells secondhand books, and they have in their parking lot they sell books for like $1.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I should go for a day
Yeah,
trip.
go. Yeah, go when it's like a nice day, not when it's raining, because then they don't do the outside books.
Yeah, because I have a little bit of time coming up and we can't go anywhere, so we could do that. That'd be fun. No, wait, I can't buy books. Damn it.
Well, they're like
ruining my own days out. Do they buy books?
they buy books like when people die and they have books to donate or whatever. Like they just accrue all these books, they sell them. Then if you also need like first editions and like books that are hard to find, they help with that as well. Rare books, like that kind of stuff too.
I'm scheming in my head how How do I get books from the Brattle? I think if there were $1, that's a gap in the rules. Surely you're gonna have to take that up with Bitter Pearl because she's the rule keeper. And being $1 is not in the rules. I skirted that by on Valentine's Day as a date. What if I made it a date?
I think that's good. I think that works.
Scheming live on the internet.
Owen's like, who's gonna know? Like, we're literally plotting right now.
I don't know, Owen. How would anybody know that I randomly show up at the Brattle and come out with stacks of books?
But I do like how Owen wasn't like, I'm not really like that. I didn't need to do a no buy. I just happened to not be buying books. But I like how Owen was like, had no intention of doing this, and then is like, I'm doing it because you guys all suck.
I did use some Pango bucks to get 2 books recently. I got I have White Teeth coming because for some reason I don't actually own that, and Midnight's Children. So those are coming. The first rule of baking no buy. Don't tell anybody.
Do you like Zadie Smith?
I have not read Zadie Smith yet.
Okay.
But the new book sounds really interesting, so I figure I should read some back catalog stuff. And I do have a couple. I only have these 2. I only have On Beauty and Swing Time. So we're sitting right in front of the S's. So it's easy. But yeah, I've heard really good things about White Teeth, and especially like the audio. I know that Pedro said the audio is phenomenal. I cannot use Pango books to buy Plek because Plek is not on Pango. That's not how this works, okay? Somebody has to own the book and sell the book. I'm trying to get Infinite Jest, but it's too expensive. I'm not spending $12 on this book. It's not happening. Everybody loves White Teeth, it seems. So I need to. Have you read Zadie Smith?
I've read Swing Time. And then I started her short story collection and dropped it.
What I do best, Owen.
And I tried to. Sorry?
It says, what I do best, Owen. I yell at you.
I tried to read some of her other stuff, but it hasn't. I kind of DNF'd them.
I know the White Teeth is supposed to be really good, but that new one that's coming out sounds really interesting and right up my alley. So I feel like.
And it's like a release that she hasn't released a novel in a long time.
Yeah. So you're easy to shout out. Poor Owen. Now I feel bad for Owen. My poor little Owen. Was it your last or like ever? Like never again? Always hate towards poor little
We are
Owen.
just a platform for hate.
Especially of baked goods.
Yes.
I will have to say that this Dunkin' was mildly disappointing. Mostly because I don't like this particular Dunkin'.
Oh, okay. What's your coffee order?
Iced coffee, oat milk, pump of vanilla swirl. And I feel like that pump of vanilla swirl was a dump of vanilla swirl. It was a lot. And the one that I passed by on my way to work does a really good job of just like a hint of swirl.
Yeah.
I don't want my teeth to fall out. I want just a little bit of sweetness. What's your Dunkin' order since you haven't had Dunkin' order in a while?
I used to really like an iced coffee with caramel swirl. That's what I liked with cream. I'm a big cream fan.
I just don't have as much dairy as I used to. So it's weird now. Like I will have coffee with milk in it when I'm out, but if there's the option not to have dairy, I'm so used to not having dairy that I don't do it. But do you miss Dunkin'?
I mean, I just like miss the comfort of it, like knowing that there's a Dunkin' Donuts nearby really does something to me. I'm like, but it's just
is that what you miss most about New England?
That driving, Panera Bread, Bertucci's, basically like any staple fast food chain is like, I miss them. Even though I would eat there a lot. It's just like nice to have the option.
Yeah. And when you're back in the States, what do you miss from overseas?
Scones.
You could make your own scones.
I'm not a baker.
It's they're scones. They're not.
No. I'm not a baker. I agree with you.
I agree. We agree wholeheartedly with that.
It's really weird.
It is weird.
But I think Farrell Sagel is a really good pick, and I think if I really wanted to be super clever, I would have read more of her reviews to figure out what her taste is to get to a better long list prediction. I just didn't have the time. I mean, maybe I did, but I didn't want to do that really.
So how does the judging work? Do they just so people submit works and then the judges say, I like these?
Well, they have to read like whatever 200 books, whatever.
Do you think they read all of them, or do they just like skim them?
I think some of them do. Okay, if Steve was a judge, he definitely would read them all.
Yes. But do you think like Dua Lipa was a judge at one point, right?
No, she wasn't a judge. She was just like a special guest.
Oh, okay.
And then today
Dua
she wrote
Lipa was a judge. So Dua Lipa's a judge now in this magical world.
She doesn't have the time to read. She's always.
Do you think she's reading them all, or do you think she's too busy like dancing and singing? Like
every time I go on TikTok, I see a clip of Dua Lipa partying. Like, not to say there's anything wrong with partying. I love to party, but I don't think she would read all the books. She'd probably go for like the most known.
I was wondering where Adam was. Here he is. He's probably already read them. Like he's like, oh, I have to read these 4 because I didn't get to them yet. Yeah. But like Steve isn't out necessarily partying or on musical tour. So yeah.
I think they read them, they must make their own individual short list. And then they compare contrast. And then they're like, because there is something thematically that happened.
That's just chaos.
But maybe it's like, this is a really good book and I want to advocate for it. So, I mean, I think even Carol Shields on their list, they said that they would do the same thing.
I mean, I guess it makes sense, but also just seems like the logistics of organizing this prize is a nightmare.
Oh, definitely.
I'm glad that I don't have to do anything like this.
I don't know. I would love to do it.
You would love to do this?
Yeah. Just international booker. I don't think actual booker. I think reading like translated fiction is so much fun.
Yeah.
I was just like I don't think I could do it a lot, but just to do it once in your life, I think sounds great.
So my my podcast co-host, she was asked to be a judge for the NAACP. They do a judging, and the amount of books that arrives, I think she's done it twice now. The amount of books that arrive at her home almost weekly that she has to judge is insane. And it's not even like a huge, international kind of prize. It's crazy. And she does like their nonfiction section. So it's just like memoirs and all this stuff just showing up, and like it's crazy. She'll come home and there's huge boxes. And it's
I feel like if I were to do that, that would be the only year that I'm reading only translated fiction.
So much, Emma. It was just Saunders slander for days. Yeah. They also read the long list again before picking the short list. They must be sick of them by that point. Surely they're skimming it on the second read. They're not like in depth with sub vocalization, right?
I guess it depends on like if you liked the book or not. Like if you already have your, like if I had to reread More Than I Love My Life, I'd be skimming it. I'd be like, no, I'm not advocating for this, but sure, I'll reread it very fast. Like,
or do you think they only really like, how do they know? Like, does somebody like watch them, or do they only read the ones that they really think should be shortlisted?
Well, I guess it's like on their conscience, right? Like, if you're doing a service to the bookish community, you should read them.
First and last chapters and whittle it down.
They actually do a tier ranking.
So I'm going to run my channel from now on. I'm going to go through every book on this shelf, and I'm just going to read the first and last chapter of the unread books and decide if they're good or not. I read a lot of books every year, but I don't think I could read specifically like a list of 150 plus books.
How long do they have to read everything?
I don't know. When did they announce the judges? Like
a while ago.
When are submissions due?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I would hope that they are they getting like a running list of books, like, so say you get you're a judge in September and the lists start pouring in October. Do you get like drip fed a list of books so you're reading, or do you have to wait till like submissions are over?
Oh, I would hope that they would do it like a rolling basis, like as they come in. I think that makes the most sense. Otherwise, it's too much.
Yeah. You can't surely you don't wait for like all 200 books to be nominated.
Like, here you go.
Read them. Then you're definitely reading the first chapter and the last chapters. Maybe they split them up between judges. I mean, that's how they do the BookTube prize, but the BookTube prize is not illustrious in any way, shape, or form. Imagine being a judge and having to read like 4 times and go.
But they did do that, and
they still picked that book. Oh God, no! I'm just so not interested in Booth. At no point in my understanding of this book, in my world, this book coming into my world, has it ever interested me.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in it either because I really disliked the cover. And then I read it and I was like, we could have done without this one. Oh, in August.
Oh, in August. Okay. I just picked September out of my butt, okay? I don't remember. Time just moves. I don't
know. So they've maybe had like 7 months to read these books.
I mean, you could conceivably do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam, sometimes we agree on books. I can't wait to do a battle of the books with you.
Yeah, me either.
But I also wonder, do you actually physically read all the books, or do you read them and DNF them and go, I'm 100% not doing this book. Like, this book sucks. And that's your answer.
I guess it depends on your personality. Yeah, I agree with that, Tony. Yeah. But I think these people have families and lives and whatever, jobs and stuff. So I don't know how you time manage this. Yeah.
The author of
she did need edits. I think I was editing her book in my review. I was like, this I don't like.
Don't make me get yelled at by Karen on the internet this week. Thank you.
Oh gosh. I think it depends on the kind of reader you were as a judge. Maybe I don't DNF very often.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do it often, but I feel like if I had 100 books, say, to get through, and I had to whittle it down to 13, if I didn't like the book 50, 60 pages in, I'm not going to keep going. Right? I still have 99 other books to get through. I'm going to be like, forget you. You're off the list. Next. And then go to the next one. And then the ones that I'm enjoying, I'm going to read.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, whittle it down to 13, right? Surely that makes sense, right?
It does. But then I guess also, if you don't like the first 50, 60 pages, but then the payoff by the end of it, and then you didn't read it and everyone else read it and they loved it, and you're sitting there like, oh, whoops.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why I would die if you threw the book of Jacob at me. Books of Jacob. There's one Jacob. There's many books. Anyway, I do not like that book. I thought for sure that Olga T was going to be like my bitch. We were going to be like this. Drive Your Plow, phenomenal. I even liked Flights. I get to Books of Jacob. No, I can't do it. I know that some people, I don't see it. It's not a me book.
I kind of thought of it. Okay, I haven't finished it. I kind of put it down and I left it in Boston.
I sold my Fitz copy. That's how much I didn't like it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought if it was more because I watched someone's review or not review. They were talking about it and they were like, oh, it's very academic. And I was like, I don't know. I just thought of it as a fantasy novel. That's how I took the reading experience. I was like, there's a lot of characters. There's some weird stuff happening. This is just a very slow-paced fantasy novel. That's how I took it.
slow. It was like glacial. It was so terrible. I hated that book. I mean, you're right. I mean, I get that like certain books really build and you don't know, but that's also why you have multiple judges, right? So, you know, here, like Books of Jacob, like I might have been like, absolutely not, screw this book. And you're like, well, actually, I think it has merits for X, Y, and Z. And so that's why you have multiple judges. There's also this. Sometimes they're great and then they suck. There's that like third act, second act, like fall off of a cliff that happens. I read 140 books over the whole of last year, and I'd need a full-time 7-month holiday to get through 150. I mean, I do read a lot of books, but I also just read what I want. They're not, some of them are graphic novels. Not a large proportion of them, but some of them. I don't know. Sarah J. Maas could write BOJ, but couldn't.
True. Very true.
Oh, I feel like that needs to be the description of this video. I really need to practice Olga T's name again, but it's just, I can't. Meg, maybe you need to pick it back up again.
Yeah. I took a break.
I feel like Seven Moons is something I have to read again because I feel like I came in and out of that narrative. He would lose me and then I'd be back in.
I think maybe it just didn't start at the right spot.
Yeah. But the ending is very good. It's just kind of worth all of the in and out bits. But now that I kind of know where I'm going, I feel like this was actually probably a good read, a good book for rereading because you kind of know where you're going and you can pick up on all the other things that are happening in the story that maybe I missed because I was like, what are you even talking about? And then kind of like kept going.
Yeah.
I loved The Trees. I thought The Trees was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I loved that Everett was talking about lynching in this country because it's just not something that I think they even tried again to get it like constitutionally banned and they still can't get it constitutionally banned. And I think that that's insane. And so having that commentary on it is so important and more books should probably talk about it.
Yeah, I thought thematically it was really good and very powerful, but as a novel, could have been a little shorter. And I think it would be a really great screenplay.
So. It read very cinematic. It would make a really good like HBO miniseries. It would be fantastic on the screen.
I agree.
That I would actually prioritize watching. That would be really good. I think The Trees. Oh, I loved the humor.
Yeah, I thought the humor was a little heavy-handed at times.
But I like that's how like my dad, my brother, and I all talk to each other is kind of in these really bad jokes and like overt puns and stuff like that. That's how we talk to each other all the time. So it felt very familiar.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I enjoyed that one. I also really like Small Things Like These, which I know a lot of people.
That was Claire Foster.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people were sort of.
That short story?
Yeah, that short story. That was. But I also don't understand how any of her, because Foster's really good too.
I haven't read that one.
But is that supposed to be
short?
A novel?
Novella, maybe?
Because I'm not understanding how her works are being classified between novella, short story, and novel because it doesn't make sense to me. I didn't like, no shit, you didn't like The Trees. I liked it. You have to hate it. It would make a really good Tarantino movie.
I agree.
Oh, I really liked it. I like quiet books like that. I feel like Foster was the same way. It's very quiet and there's like this nice little impactful story that's under the surface. But yeah, the list of names in The Trees did really hit hard. That was, and it was crazy. It's just crazy how like long it goes for. And I think I liked the most about the trees, not aside of the humor, which apparently everybody hated, was that it was talking about something that we don't talk enough about. And if more people write books about these things, and if more people make TV shows about these things, and the more it becomes part of the public discourse, perhaps maybe they can finally change something.
Yeah.
So there's just so many problems. We can't possibly cover them all, but there's some that I feel like should really get more airtime. You guys, you're hurting me. It's okay.
But it's also amazing how prolific he is. Like,
yeah.
There's so many books.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that he's got. I know he's got like a newer book out now.
Doctor.
But Doctor No. I don't know why I shouted that. Doctor No. But he's got some book called Telephone that he wrote 3 different versions of, and they're slightly different.
Oh, wow.
And like, I don't know if I could read 3 different versions of the same book, one right after another. But it would be really interesting to read them, maybe like one a year, and see what you remember. I thought Small Things was pretty good. It was a parable about the difference between organized religion and how to actually live a Christian life, if that makes sense. No, it does make sense. And I do tend to gravitate towards literature that criticizes the church specifically, probably from my own biases. Like, I kind of like Lapvona because it pokes fun at the corruption and sort of fakeness of clergy and how they interact with men of power. But I mean, I think also like Wolf Hall sort of does that in a way too, because you can see the corruption of the church and how religion gets manipulated to bolster the power of whoever is in power. So I don't know. I like it. I feel like the people most impressed by small people. I keep small by small people.
I feel like the people most impressed by Small Things were people who didn't know about Irish history or the laundries.
Or the people who were most impressed by small people. I love small people. Willing to be wrong. No, I think that is part of it. I think that a lot of people had no idea what the laundries were. I mean, I only knew about them because I just watch a lot of documentaries. When I do watch TV, I tend to watch more that kind of stuff than dramas and shows and things like that. So eventually, if you watch enough history, you hit things like that.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked the discourse about the church. I always enjoy a good dig at the church. And it reminded me of what's it called? The Fountains of Silence. Because I don't know a lot, and I feel like in the US we don't know a lot about the Spanish Civil War. We don't get taught a lot about it. And I wasn't aware, so I like historical fiction sometimes. I wasn't aware of a lot of the things that were going on, I guess, on the ground during the Spanish Civil War. It was just sort of like a thing. Like, I knew who Franco was. It was just like a talking point almost. So there's also this storyline of the church sort of like stealing people's babies during the whole Spanish Civil War. And I remember talking to Jesus about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, that totally happened." And it was such a shock to me to find out that the church would just be like stealing people's babies. No, I'm not reading you a blurb. Thank you. I can't even read your comment. I like small people. Second place. That's Cusk, right? You were saying you read some Cusk. I liked second place, but it's also ultimately forgettable. Like, do we like second place? I enjoyed it while I read it, but it's ultimately forgettable. I feel like
I thought it was okay.
Like, I feel like I was enjoying myself, and then I closed the book and it like almost didn't exist.
I really disliked the main character.
I think you're supposed to.
Yeah, I know, but I really disliked her.
We don't. Oh, well, I don't have a pony in this race. I don't really care either way. It passed the time. What was the 2021 Booker list?
Yeah, hold on.
I'll pull the 2022. 2022. I just Googled that. Nothing else.
Oh, hold on. I got to the wrong prize. I think the Booker's website is really bad.
Well, yes. How is it that I look up the 2022 Booker long list and it takes me to a bookshop.org page and not straight to the Booker prizes? I feel like you need to work on your SEO. That's just my little...
Okay. So I found the 2021 list. We have An Island by Karen Jennings, A Town Called Solace, No One Is Talking About This, The Fortune Men, Bewilderment, China Room, which I have but haven't read yet, Great Circle.
I do like Great Circle.
Light Perpetual, A Passage North, Second Place, The Promise, The Sweetness of Water, and Clara and the Sun.
Oh, I did read The Sweetness of Water. I did like The Sweetness of Water, but I think The Prophets does that theme better. So if you want something that's similarly written, why are we screaming Jeffers?
Because of Second Place.
Exactly. Like, it's totally forgettable. I think I liked the sort of sinister atmosphere that, or maybe I just read a sinister atmosphere into it, and I did like that, but I honestly don't remember clearly because I don't know what the hell you're talking about with Jeffers. I don't remember.
You missed Jeffers?
I just don't remember.
I just wanted to meet Jeffers.
I don't even remember who Jeffers is. That's how unforgettable this was. Or so that was how forgettable it was, not unforgettable. Absolutely forgettable. How shocked I was when reading Babel when my Chinese Malaysian wife told me that the Opium Wars was real and not a fantasy war she made up. I mean, it's crazy the things we don't get taught, and it sort of blows your mind when you hear about them years later and you're like, how did I miss this? I feel like authors write books and then say, but the protagonist was supposed to be unlikable. But sometimes they are supposed to be unlikable, but you do an unlikable character well when you kind of like them despite how unlikable they are. There's something enjoyable in how much you hate them, and not just like you detest them like I detest Lucy Barton. Like there's more to it. The sane as a British person, modern literature is... Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Wonka. I can't do your weird long ass name. As a British person, modern literature is like a constant reminder of the sins of our fathers. It's true. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I will be a nasty human being. No one is talking about this alone ruins the entire long list. I have not heard anybody in real life that is a person that I know actually like No One Is Talking About This. I've only heard other reviewers on the internet be like, this blew my mind. Oh, and you hurt me.
No One Is Talking About This is a tough book because I feel like the last 30 pages were the strongest because that's when there's actually more of a, like something, but everything before that was kind of insufferable.
I'm impressed. I have respect for Adam. The world would have crashed.
They should have just given it for that reason.
I love it. I kind of got spoiled on the whole like ending of Bewilderment, so I never read it because I kind of felt like knowing the ending of a book like that already ruined the book. So now I don't know how to. I don't know. There's no point in reading it now. Is it? No One Is Talking About This. Just tweets. Is it?
Basically.
That sounds boring.
Have you not read it?
No, I haven't. I have only read, so like I don't tend to read in the entire long list. I read like certain things. So like I've read The Great Circle. I've read Second Place. I read The Promise, The Sweetness of Water, and Clara and the Sun. And I think I have The China Room somewhere. And that's really it.
I mean, no one is talking about this. It's very easy to read. It's like I guess if you like Patricia Lockwood's like actual tweets and like internet personality, you might like the book, is the impression that I got from people. But it's like kind of writing about how the internet is. So there's like humor, jokes, and it gets kind of twee, I think, and annoying.
I love the word twee. I do enjoy that. Oh God. Wait until you get older. People will tell you spoilers and you'll forget about them a couple weeks later. I wish. Somehow that always comes back. Can a dog be twins? What?
I've forgotten it.
Is that in a book?
I think it's no one is talking about this. There's a lots of like jokes and
okay. Okay. Well, I don't understand. I have not read. I did like Great Circle. And my favorite like critique of it was like, can you just sleep with everybody? And it's yes, you can sleep with everybody. It's basically the answer.
yeah.
And nothing wrong with that. Sleep with everybody. So, but what was I don't even remember what was on last year. So maybe I can read Bewilderment in like a year or two when I've totally forgotten what was even. Yeah, so like the 2022 long list will be the first time I've read all the Bookers, except for Booth, because I refuse to read Booth.
Yeah, you don't need to read that one.
I'm good. I don't need to read that one. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not missing anything. What? Oh, you mean the cat? Like, is that the cat with like the rainbow butt? You know what I'm talking about? No, that's not what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I think is that Patricia Lockwood's cat?
Oh, sorry. It is Patricia Lockwood's cat. It's a cute cat.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's a cute cat. We're good. Clearly, we're too chronically online for that. Sorry. I'm not that much online.
Yeah, we
like
it's
Nyan the cat's the one I'm thinking of with the rainbow butt. That has like a song with it, right? Isn't there like a... Okay. I think it has it. That's the song. I don't think it counts if you didn't read Booth. You need to suffer like the rest of us. No, I'm okay. There's maturity that comes with wisdom that comes with hindsight. There we go. Everyone convinced me to get rid of my copy of Booth. I'm surprised you even had one. I can't wait till like I can get rid of my copies of Glory. My copy of Glory. I don't have many copies of Glory. I really did not like Glory.
I thought it was okay.
Wait, does Adam like case studies? Or case study?
I liked Case Study. I thought it was fun.
It sounds weird and I'd like it.
It's a very easy read. Like, I think also because of the books I had read before that for whatever long list Case Study's on, I really did not like. And then I read Case Study and I was like, oh, like, it's fun. I don't know if it necessarily deserved to be long listed, but it was a fun read.
I feel like a lot of things are objectively better than Booth, and I don't need to read Booth to know that. It was a good time.
Yeah.
It's not that page shorter. Is Booth really long too?
It's thick.
Oh God. No, I'm good. I don't need to read that.
But maybe in paperback it'd be a little bit shorter.
Everything can't be punk. After Booth, Case Study was a good reminder that you can read for enjoyment.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think the other thing that really hurts is that the way Dee Dee has done the list, I think Booth is the last one. So I don't feel like I need to read it. It's like I'll just take that month off of book club.
Yeah, I could see that. I think in the hardcover they had like a lot of white space. No, don't read it.
No.
Maybe if you want to do it, you could do it like on audiobook and you listen on like double speed.
While like vacuuming.
Yeah.
You can only hear every 4 words, so you're just vacuuming away.
And you have like the washing machine on, and it's just like the lawnmower's outside. That's the time.
That's when you listen to Booth. I feel like at some point I will probably have to read it just to justify all the Booth hate, but I don't know. It's not happening this year. I managed to avoid Booth because I was reading them in page number order, but didn't get to the end before the winner was announced. That's fair.
Way to do it.
Oh, why do you say that? That sounds like insulting. Is it because there's a theater involved? I feel like you're stretching. Is it the theater? Is that it? Leave her alone. Poor Owen. So much Owen hate today. I apologize, Owen. I do love you.
I'm not apologizing because you called me out.
I painstakingly made sure my stuff was right so that I didn't get yelled at by either of them.
I think considering that I didn't actually look into if they were actually eligible, only getting one wrong isn't that bad.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I swear they really like long historical fiction. Speaking of long historical fiction, did you read The Eighth Life? No, you didn't read The Eighth Life, right? That one's actually really good. I think to date it's still the longest book I've ever read. And that one's it's also like multi-generational family sagas, which we've already discussed is not your fave.
Well, like, what are other multi-generational family sagas?
Homegoing. Well, how are you defining it? Are you just talking about like having
like a bunch of family members?
Well, are we talking like going chronologically from like past family members up into present day or to a present day, whatever the present day of this narrative is? Or are you talking about having sort of one timeline and a bunch of different people from different generations all coexisting together in this one timeline?
I think either could work for me.
Okay.
For the definition. But I mean, I tend to dislike when we like go back in time and it's like through going back in time and seeing how the character's mother, father, grandfather, stepsister acted, that's infiltrated the present. Because I'm like, I'd just rather stay in one timeline. But if it was in a fantasy book, I'd be okay with it.
Well, I like The Eighth Life because we start right around the Russian Revolution. I think we go up until like the 2000s or the 90s. I can't remember.
Oh, wow.
You go up and you're just following like generation after generation, and you kind of see how history and family traumas and stuff all kind of build on each other, and it's really interesting. And it's set in Georgia, so you get this whole sort of Eastern Europe, Russia history line that you don't normally perspective that you get. That we always get like a Russian perspective, but we don't always get like all the other pieces that have made up Russia. What is Wild Swans, by the way? Don't know what that is. Wait, someone, are you talking about the book or the real John Wilkes Booth? Because loving one of those is worse than the other. More Than I Love My Life is a multi-generational family saga. Okay.
Which I didn't like that one. But like could you say Victory City is a multi-generational family saga?
I mean, yeah, it's just one person lives for like many of those generations.
And I liked that one.
Holes is not the same as The Hole.
Like the Shia LaBeouf one?
I think so.
Oh, I read that. I like that. I haven't read Pachinko.
Pachinko is good, but what I found really interesting is when she switches from like timelines and stuff, it's like really abrupt changes. Like you're like, and then he died. Next group. And you're like, oh, okay. Is Plek a multi-generational family saga?
Are you being serious?
Want me to read Plek? I DNF'd to Kin.
I didn't even get past the intro. Oh, yeah, okay. I think I'm fine with some multi-generational family sagas.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. John Wilkes Booth was bad, but Karen Joy Fowler may have beaten him by writing that mess.
True.
I have never read Holes. I do need to read Tomb of Sand. I do own that because I was really excited to read that and then never got there. So I have to get there. Oh, the Joy Luck Club. I always forget the Joy Luck Club exists, and then I see it when I'm thrifting, and I'm like, oh, yeah. That's short. Infinite Country is really short. That's just a wee little book.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I need to read Holes. Is that, we're talking about not the whole. Not the two books named names. The Whole. Just Whole.
I need someone like Whole by X.
I think Stanley Yelnats is the person Emma is saying yes to. And I probably said
that's Shia LaBeouf's character's name. And
oh, clearly I have not read this book. Books, Holes. Okay, it's by Louis Sachar. And this is supposed to be good.
I mean, they made a movie out of it.
That means nothing.
I think I had to read it in school. I don't know. I know I read the book.
We read a lot of intergenerational family sagas about Chinese diaspora in this house. Well, I think I get that. But like the Joy Luck Club was huge. Like there are those books that are really big and they like kick off, and then I feel like they kind of fall. Yeah. And then you see them later and you're like, I remember I was supposed to have read that for some reason. Somebody really enjoyed that 10 years ago. Cannot be good. I feel like we're going to have to read Holes and decide whether or not it bangs or if it doesn't bang.
I know I read it. I just don't remember it. I remember the movie as well.
If it's middle grade, I'm not gonna like it, just so you know. I tend to not like a lot of middle grade. I can't. I've tried too many.
Yeah, we might as well.
Next week, everybody come with your opinions on Holes. That sounds so wrong. I am not mature enough for this. Group reading Holes. No, I can't.
I feel like there's a lot of things to be read.
There always is. I kept thinking I know the name. Sploosh. I guess we're rereading Holes.
Yeah.
It can take like an hour. At least it's short.
Let's do it.
All right.
And then we can all watch the film and then we can be in the Discord and like
we can all talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we have assignments. It's 251 pages, and if it's middle grade, that's going to be like big font pages.
It's like 100, yeah.
I have read so many bad middle grade books. I will defend a good one. I'm not saying there's not good ones. I'm so bad at reading middle grade books. I cannot, like, there are people that just love middle grade, and it doesn't, I don't know. I feel like I just need more gore in my life, so middle grade doesn't cut it. We're not just reading the first line.
It's everything.
Inspector Claus. Dr. Seuss. The kid who played Zero in the movie is so cute. Is he? Okay. We can act out an Inspector Claus. Oh, God. Okay. I can hear dogs banging on bowls for things. Doggies want food.
Yeah, so do I.
Would you like a croissant? I have 2 more.
Yeah, send it over. Send it over.
Throw it at. Imagine I just threw a croissant at the camera for real. Like, that's how we ended it. It was just woo. Oh God, this is fun.
Yeah,
we have the homework assignment. We have to read the Holes so we can discuss. No, it's a croissant fling. Oh God. In Fire and Blood and Anguish. What? Are you giving me a middle grade gory book? Or are you just telling me that that's what I like?
Oh, it's related to an inspector calls.
Oh, okay. Stop calling it though.
Oh, I remember. I googled zero. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, holes. It's just holes. There's no article in front of that. It's just holes. I'm sorry. I grew up with books like Lord of the Flies. That's what we read.
I had to read Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli, and I hated that book.
I don't even know what that is. What is
It's
that?
like a blue turquoise cover with a yellow like stick figure of a girl, and I disliked it so much when I read it in whatever grade school I was, and then a couple years later I was like, let's see if little Karen was right, and then I reread it and I also disliked it. So it's like about a quirky girl who goes to a new town, and the like soft-spoken boy is like, she's so quirky and cool, and then they become friends, and then she disappears.
Sounds terrible.
It was.
I prefer our children's literature where like people became like cannibalistic on an island. Even though I think that book was published in like the 1950s. That's what they were having us read. And like the Velveteen Rabbit and stuff like that. That's good traumatizing stuff. Now Mercy's crying. All right, we have to end this. Thank you everybody for coming.
Yes, thank you all. This was fun.
This is fun. See you next time for holes.
Yes. Just holes, not the holes. Bye, guys.
Bye.